right, traders. We are here talking about Wasatch Comic Con with the creator of the con, co-creator of the con,
Yep.
Roger. Um, where did you guys get this whole thing started? Was it just you and Charles?
Yeah, we had taken a road trip to a con that was a pretty cool comic focused con, and we had a lot of feedback from people that they wanted to see something like that in Salt Lake, and we knew that the mall was cool and would help us out with, space, or at least had an idea that they might, and so we networked with some creators we knew and brought them out and gave it a test, and people seemed to like it, and we kind of accidentally hooked ourselves into keeping doing it every year.
That's pretty cool. So, and last year we didn't have a con
Correct.
because
Yeah.
we were bouncing back from COVID era restrictions
Yep.
and all that. The year previous to that was my first year.
Yep.
And that was the second or third?
I think that was the third.
Third.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this will be the fourth.
So this is going to be the fourth annual. We're going to forget about COVID and fourth annual. Yeah. So one of the really cool things, we're going to cover like some of the guests and that type of thing, and who's going to be there, and some of the cool exclusives that are going to be out, activities. You guys have panels for this thing as well.
Yeah, we're going to do some like guest and creator interviews on the main stage, which will be in the center of the mall.
Cool. All right, so a lot going on. I know for my part, we are going to be representing C3 Comics Curing Cancer. We have a $50,000 goal that we're shooting for this year, and I think we're going to crush that. And we got some big news coming up for C3 as well. So for those of you that are into it for the charity component, you'll be hearing more about that in the next couple of months. There's some big things coming down the pipe there. But as far as the convention goes, first I want to cover some of the things that I've heard, concerns that people have about this, the way that you guys do this con.
Okay.
I love the idea that it's free.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody can just walk in.
It's completely free to attend to the public. The idea is that we just want to give people, we want to take as much of a barrier to entry away as we can for people to be able to experience comics and a Comic-Con and the art form and those things. It's about growing that community and growing that exposure to new people, which every year we get new people that have never read a comic that come through and become comic readers at the show.
Right, and that's awesome. And being in the mall, you will inevitably get somebody that came here to, buy their pretzel, and they stop and see comic books.
Yeah,
and
every time. That's a nice little bonus.
Get roped into it. So the free entry is a huge thing for me. I've always long held to that. I mean, I grew up in the era where you would go to a school gymnasium, and that's where I met Stan Lee the first time, was in a school gymnasium.
It's wild, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And it didn't cost me anything to go either.
Yeah.
So those type of things were really big back in the day, and it's really cool that you guys are bringing that back. Some of the bigger cons, Emerald City, which Emerald City isn't really too expensive, but still, you pay your entrance fee, you pay for parking and everything else on top of that.
Most shows, by the time you hit the floor, you're at least $80 to $100 into the show.
Right, and that's a real barrier when you're trying to buy, that first appearance of Thor. Or,
sure. Yeah, or just a piece of art off of a cool art commission or something like that.
Right.
And that's part of the thing that we're trying to do here too. Is the other edge of it is, even for people who would be willing to pay to come in and those kind of things, we'd rather they pay it with the creators that take their time to come here. Like, take that money you would have spent on entry and go spend it at a booth with a local creator, or check out a new book that you haven't checked out before. Give an opportunity to some of those. We do a fair amount of kind of hand-picking creators based on projects we really love and that kind of stuff too. So we try to bring out some good exposure to some projects we really like, and give those a shot too, because that's a big part of what comics is and should be about too.
Right. And so the fact that it's in the mall really gives you the opportunity to have that free entry, which is huge. And
it's the only reason that we can. Yeah,
right.
It's the only reason.
And the mall has been great to work with you year after year.
Yeah, they love it.
It's a beautiful space. Mm-hmm. Plenty of parking. Of course, you got the food court here.
Great public transport access too. There's a train station right across the street, so pretty easy to take public transport in if you need to as well.
And it really is. It's 2 stops if you're coming from northern Utah all the way up Brigham City, Cache Valley. Just hop on the front runner, and then you change to the West Valley train. It'll bring you a block away.
Yep, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And
So
while you're here, there's a whole food court on hand. You're not dealing with crappy overpriced con food. You've got
right,
nice restaurants, food court. You've got movie theater. You can catch a movie while you're here. There's a lot of other things you can do to make a day out of it on top of the con itself.
right. So a lot going on, and even this year, you guys are teaming up with the BTNT Toy
Yeah,
Show.
we have a whole toy show here as well with our friends with BT&T Toys over on State Street. They're bringing in a vintage toy show as well. So I think we have 30 or 30 plus vendors that'll be selling a bunch of hard to find vintage action figures and toys and those kind of things as well.
Right on.
There's definitely going to be some cool stuff.
So another criticism, another thing that I've heard from our community about this particular show is the fact that it's literally held right outside the front door of your store, of the
Yeah,
nerd store.
just down the hall.
But that in no way is a barrier to other shops wanting to set up, other vendors coming in. I know when I attended as an attendee last time, there were 3 or 4 different vendors set up
Yeah, no,
selling stuff.
we have vendors down the hall selling different art and comics and different projects, independent books, independent projects. We've had, back when Dave owned it, we had Dr. Bolts out here several times
Right.
at our shows. Black Cat attended at least our first show. We've had a lot of other local comic companies come out. So yeah, it's a community event for us. That's what we're trying to do. So I don't handle the vendors, so I can't tell you how many we have, but I know we had a good amount of vendor applications again this year. And I don't think we turned any away this year. I might be wrong, but I think that we had a pretty good turn and have a lot of different vendors coming out with some cool stuff too.
Right on. And for vendors, one thing that you guys impress on me when we're talking about this is you want it to be a creator focused con.
Yes, that is the idea.
You're not going to see when you're talking vendors, you're not going to see a insurance salesman
No.
sitting next to your
No,
comic dealer.
all of it is relates to what we do and
Right.
relates to comic books and pop culture and media. All the guests, all of the vendors, all of the panels we're going to do, all of it relates to all of those things.
Right on. And so I do encourage you when you come out, come into the nerd store, check out what they got. Will you have the pop up shop by then?
We're hoping to.
Okay. So there might be a couple different places that you can
We're
stop.
gonna have some good long boxes to dive. We're gonna bring over some of the new vintage stuff that we've got out of this vintage collection for diving purposes. So we'll have more books on hand than typical as well. We're gonna try and have some of that out here as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if you went to FanX, a lot of the books that didn't sell at FanX, I assume you're going to have here.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that great
And a lot of new stuff that we've just processed since then too.
and they've got like the stuff he throws in dollar bins is just stupid, to be honest with you. Nobody else is throwing that in a dollar bin. But a lot of great stuff. If you've been diving in their sales boxes, it'll blow you away. But there will be other comic vendors as well. The C3 booth, we're going to have exclusives from Izzy Comics. They send us a signature series, very cool slab cut. They're like Nirvana Department of Truth book.
Oh, that's rad.
He sent me one of those.
That's super cool.
So very cool stuff from them. Hive Comics sent us some stuff. Of course, Comic Tom sent us a bunch of stuff, as well as all of our Utah people. So Utah's got a lot of great creators, and we are starting to kind of gel together and share a lot of opportunities and stuff like that. And
we've got some things working to hopefully keep that going.
we do have the Wasatch Wonders. This is issue number 1 of Evan Black's Wasatch Wonders. This is the C3 exclusive for the con. Went with a blank cover, so you can come and grab one of these. Cover price $20, and you can get it sketched on. We're going to have Rufus is going to be here. All the guys from Bleak Haven are going to be stopping by. Evan's going to be here with his daughter, who also did a comic book. So I think she's 8, 9 years old. She's going to do an exclusive C3 book as well, so you can pick that one up. It is a pretty cool read, but she did the artwork herself. Evan's going to help her with that. So you can pick one of these up, have it sketched, or just have any of these guests that are coming in do their thing on it as well. So let's talk a little bit about the guests. I don't want to make this too long. I got a cheat sheet here. We pulled up the website for Wasatch Comic Con. So what is that website? WasatchCon.com. You can check out the guests that are going to be here. And some of these names, I mean, Phil Seavey, everybody knows Adrian Ropp's going to be here, which is huge. Like he couldn't make both days or all 3 days at FanX. So I know some people need to get some Ropp signatures. That Archie Indiana Jones, had him sign one of those for me. Tony Fleeks.
Yeah, Tony Fleece, Trish Forstner, and
Right.
Tone Rodriguez, which is the entire.
So Tone is going to be here.
Tone is going to be here as well. Yeah, the entire creative team from Stray Dogs is going to be here, and it's one of the very, very few times all three of them have been able to make signings in one place since the release of that book.
Wow, that's super cool.
So they're coming, and then Tony also is doing Army of Darkness Forever, and we had this cover done. So Tony wrote this, and then Tony and Trish did this cover for us. So they will be here to sign copies of the Army of Darkness.
And that, of course, is a Nerd Store exclusive.
This is one of our Wasatch exclusives this year.
Nice.
We also have a surprise Wasatch exclusive. So if you're a really big Stray Dogs or Army of Darkness fan, you're going to want to come because there is a extremely limited. I think we're going to have 7 copies that go up for sale of this particular exclusive.
And there's going to be floating around a couple of those Blair Witch books as well.
Yeah, I'm sure there will.
I know for a fact that there's going to be a couple available for sale there, and CGC signing opportunities.
Yeah, we are going to have CGC witnessing for all of our guests.
Okay, and that's all of the guests. So you know, if you get something done by Rufus, who's a Utah talent, or you know, any of our Utah guys, you can have it slabbed CGC gold label.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not just one person running around with their head cut off. You've got a couple people that do witnessing. So
we have one witness for this event, but it's such a small hall that it's no problem.
All right.
It really doesn't take more than that.
So
how small the hall is here.
So plenty. I know that gold labels have just rocketed in the last couple of months. Here's your opportunity to get gold label. If you want to go EGS, we can do EGS as well. So if you don't want to, there really isn't much of a price difference. So I don't know why you would do that. But if you want an EGS slab, we can do those as well. So we've also got we got the Stray Dogs team, Andrew Malin, of course, Utah creator, and a riot. Like the guy is just a riot.
Great,
Christy Porter's going to be here.
She's an up and coming local talent as well.
She's very talented. I picked up a couple of her books, really dug it. Drew Zucker's going to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited to have Drew. He's coming in from New York City, so he obviously doesn't get out here very often.
Right.
He's a fantastic artist. For those of you who don't know him, make sure you look him up. He has a great horror book called The House, and creator-owned series Canto. That was a real popular series. It's a really great series, all age friendly. I'm hesitant to call it a kids book because it really is good for anybody. I read it and really enjoyed it, but it is kid friendly, and it's another really great series that we like a lot.
Yeah, if you haven't explored Canto, it probably is, I would say, top 5 indie books for me. Like it's really just a brilliant book
for that genre. There's not a lot that's like a really great kind of fantasy tale.
Right. It's kind of like a modern fairy tale.
Yeah.
So yeah, very cool. We've got J.C. Carter from Shaolin Nunn, Matt Page, Mel Milton, Travis Romney, another Utah favorite.
Matt and Mel are both Utah natives as well. And this is our first time having both of them at the show. We're really excited for them.
Very cool. Chad Harding's in here. Joni Brosis.
Yeah, Joni Brosis is a cosplayer who is featured on a lot of the Dynamite cosplay covers.
Okay, so a lot of I see the Red Sonja picture.
Yeah, so she has been featured and published in many different comic covers.
Very cool. Brandon Dayton, Don McGregor.
Yeah, Don McGregor is one that we were really excited for those who aren't familiar with his work. You know, there's a meme that goes around on Facebook. I see a whole bunch about Marvel editorial telling Jack Kirby that he needed to put more white people in Black Panther, so he responded by putting the Klan for Black Panther to
Right.
beat up.
Right.
The story is true. The person is wrong. It was not Jack Kirby. It was
Really.
yeah, it was Don McGregor that did that.
Right
Don McGregor created Killmonger as well. He's really did a legendary amount of work on Black Panther and some of the most legendary story arcs, and worked hand in hand on a lot of it with Sal Ludo as his artist, who will also be at the show.
on. Evan Black, of course, from Wasatch Wonders. I just finally read Wasatch Wonders #1. Very cool. It's like Utah's own Avengers.
Yeah.
He did a really good job on that. But he's going to be there. We're going to have him doing signings at the C3 booth. So you can come and say hi. He's got his own table there as well. Jess Smart Smiley, Matthew Armstrong, Mike Lovins. Everybody knows I love We Go Anywhere. Space Truckers, very cool stuff. David Barron, like David's just a cool dude.
David's cool. Yeah, if you've never had a chance to meet him, I mean, just meeting him is great, regardless of his work. But he's done. If you're a fan of, if you're a fan of Scott Snyder on Batman, or Jock on Batman, you're a fan of David Barron, because David Barron has done the colors for most of their work, or at least a lot of their most known works, as well as Batman Who Laughs, as well as a lot of other really great DC projects and independent projects.
And he's just a great guy to sit down and talk with. We mentioned Tone. Sal Valuto is going to be there. That's a big deal.
Ryan Cady, very up and coming comic writer.
Chris Hoffman. Everybody loves Doug Wagner. Doug's going to be there hanging out.
Doug's a great guy.
This, I think, is a great get. Garrett Gunn is going to be there.
I'm excited to have Garrett. This will be his first time, to my knowledge, in the state.
Yeah, I think so.
This is his first signing in the state of Utah that he'll be out here for.
So, if you're a John Wick fan, Good Boy, just an awesome take on the John Wick mythology. We got Matt Wilson and Eddie D'Angelini. Eddie
D'Angelini is a friend of mine based out of LA, who does a comic strip called Collectors, and you should really check it out. Like, if you haven't, you specifically would love it.
Right on. Well, let's check that out.
It's basically satirical chronicalization of being a comic nerd and being married to someone who tries very hard to be supportive. Which it's semi-biographical, because his wife's more of a nerd than maybe the strip would make you think. But it's a lot of their stuff. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very funny. It's very good. It's a great read. It's a really it has a very old school feel. Like, it feels like a 90s like newspaper type comic strip. Like,
right on.
It has that kind of feel to it. And it's got a very good really good art. I'd really recommend it.
All right, so yeah, I gotta check that out. That sounds like a blast. So a lot of great creators, and I would say this is probably the largest creator lineup that's ever been in the state. I don't think I've ever seen anything, even from back in the Salt Lake Comic-Con days.
Yeah, I think it certainly rivals any of them.
Yeah. And a great cross section too. You've got people from the big three.
We also, and I don't know if he was missing from the site, although I think he was on there. We also forgot to mention Jim Magan, when you talk about the variety of guests, Jim actually, he is a creator.
Oh yeah,
he's known more for his television work. Jim created the Goofy movie. He created Goof Troop. He created Disney's Gummy Bears. He created Tailspin. Basically the Disney afternoons that a lot of us grew up with in the 90s. That was his creations.
And he's done work with Adrian, right?
Yep. He did an art print with Adrian that we will have for sale at the show.
Right on. And the Batman print, David Barron.
We have some really cool
remarks on those.
Yeah, we have some of those that'll be up for sale at the show too.
Wow, yeah, that's really some super cool stuff. Nice. And we've got one that's going to be available in the silent auction at the C3 booth as well, that he did a remark on and autograph for us to help us raise funds. So freak on. Anybody can come down, meet any of these creators. It doesn't cost you any more to meet these creators either.
No, I'm in charge for that.
Are you doing the wristband thing? No. Just to kind of keep track of people.
We haven't decided that yet.
Oh, okay.
We're figuring those logistics out next week. You may have to get a wristband, which is just come in and check in, just so we track numbers. But we're going back and forth on whether we're going to require that this year or not.
Okay. But you can meet the creators, and some of them do have signing fees. Of course, the bigger names that are doing bigger books we'll probably have signing fees. I know that Sal had said that he will do sketches on the Wasatch book um, for a fee, but he's donating all that money to the
That's super
charity.
cool. That's super cool.
So if you want to support us and help us raise some money,
Get a head sketch from Sal, anyways, because that's a legend. His art is incredible. The stuff he puts out and the sketch work he does
yeah,
is unbelievable. So if you don't have one already, you should get a sketch from him regardless.
yeah, and he's just a great guy. Been very supportive of the charity component.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm really happy with that. David's been very supportive. I'm sure the rest of the guys will be as well. All of our Utah people have been super supportive.
When we run this show, one of the big things that's important for us is like we've had some larger names that have had some interest in coming to the show that we haven't really gone after as much because one of our big emphasis is making sure it's a positive experience for people and it's a positive experience for new people. And so we try to really focus on people that give people a really great experience and are very personable and are the type of people you really want to meet and want to talk to. And so everyone on that table has been vetted, with that in mind. So it's a really good group of people.
Yeah. So doing great things for the comic community. Come out to Wasatch Comic Con. They're doing it Friday and Saturday, 10th and 11th
Yep,
of November. Hours?
you would ask that when I don't
Is
have it
it
in front of me.
is it mall hours?
No, it's not. It's on the website. If you go to wasatchcon.com, it has the
Um,
hours right there on the
oh,
bottom
there
of
we
the
go.
logo.
Friday 2 to 8, so 6 hours on Friday, and 10 to 7 on Saturday. So 10 hours on Saturday,
Yep, there you go.
9 hours on Saturday. So come out, support a great cause. They're the you guys have been fantastic with the charity. They're giving me a free space to set up so I can raise money. All the money we make at the C3 booth is going right to the charity. You'll have an option to just pay by donating directly, so you don't have to worry about going through PayPal or any of that crap. Just give us money to help us fight cancer. Come out, check out the event, buy some toys from the BTNT people, and check out the
Support some of the
books.
creators. Yeah.
Yeah, support the creators. We would rather you spend money at the creators, to be honest, and I know that's how you guys feel as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, one of the things that I've had really good feedback from the show is that the creators do really well, and part of the reason is you're not poor going to the show. You haven't spent all your money to get here,
Right.
so there's plenty to go around to make sure it's everybody's supported and really just come in, have a good time, even if you don't have money to spend. I mean, come in, have a good time, be part of it, see what there is to see. I mean, just having foot traffic here, really, believe it or not, it helps the event. One of the things that's really logged is the mall logs how many people come in and out of the facility.
Right.
And so even if we can just show a significant increase of foot traffic, even if it's not spending money, it helps with our standing with the mall. It helps the mall to get on board to help the way that they do because they not only supply the space, but they supply the stages, they supply the PA, they supply the security, they do all of the waste removal. I mean, they're spending a good amount of money to make sure that this thing happens, and if we can do that, then that helps to ensure that they, enjoy the event and they continue on. So just being here is
Right. And just one final thing. So at the C3 booth, if you come in, like we said, there's no admission fee, but we are doing a pantry drive for the Salt Lake City Hope Lodge. The Hope Lodge is a free home away from home for cancer patients where they can stay while they're undergoing cancer treatment at Huntsman, at the U, at any of these major cancer facilities in Utah. They don't pay a cent, and their pantry is getting a bit low. So I've got a short box full of great books. There's a lot of exclusives in there from Hive, from Comic Tom, from Izzy's. There's some Silver Age, some Bronze Age, whatever they have, and there may actually be an ASM 300 in the mix.
Hey.
So if anybody that brings in a can of food, non-perishable can of food, or a thing of soft soap, sanitation wipes, anything like that that we can help stock the pantry, you'll get a pull a book from out of this box at random, and you might get a real banger out of the deal. So
bringing some food.
it's a pretty good deal. So, but the one caveat is ramen noodles. It takes 6 of those to make one. So don't bring me a pack of ramen noodles and take all my books. So so come on in and donate to that as well. And we will see you all next Friday at 2 o'clock. It says right there, 2 o'clock. Yeah. So next Friday, 2 o'clock, come and check it out. Friday and Saturday, cosplayers dress up, come and walk around and have a good time.
We are also working right now on possibly having a cosplay contest on Saturday. So trying
Okay.
to put some last minute things together. Can't say for sure, but if you got a costume, get it ready because we're hoping to have something there.
Right on. All right. So we'll see you next weekend, traders, and have a good day.